Junction. Outbound, it's heavier with delays in pockets from Montrose to Lincoln. It's 20 minutes, Montrose to Lake Cook, inbound 17. Kennedy runs 41 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 25 from Montrose, 20 in the express lanes. Outbound 15 minutes to Montrose, 39 to the airport. The Eisenhower, 51 minutes now, 390 to downtown, 34 from Wolf. The extension is heavy. Outbound 42 minutes to 390. Northbound I-55, delays start at 1:26, then it's 40 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Westbound 8094 is heavy. Burr to Indianapolis Boulevard. It's now 30 minutes from the toll road to the Bishop Ford Freeway. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and sun, breezy this afternoon. Thunderstorm, high 79. Cloudy, warm tonight, low 67. Partly sunny tomorrow, the high 83. Warmer temperatures means the inside of your car can heat up fast. Make sure you have your keys and your kids. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
66 at O'Hare, next news 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and the body of evidence that I'm piling up in support of my position that Black Lives Matter is not about race or racial justice. It's about Marxism. It's about advancing a particular ideology. And to wit, Black Lives Matter declares solidarity with Hamas in Israel conflict. Of course they do. But it's just about racial justice in America. It's about the 1619 Project. No, it's not. Those are aspects of the movement. The larger movement, if you understand it properly, is advancing Marxism. And you don't have to believe me. You should believe the founders of Black Lives Matter, like Patrisse Cullors and Alicia Garcia, who describe themselves as trained Marxists, who Patrisse Cullors in particular have wonderful things to say about how much they enjoyed Mao's Red Book. And Joe Biden apparently all on board with that, per his comments about Rashida Tlaib, who declares Israel an apartheid state, in addition to all sorts of other anti-Semitic things that she routinely says and has since the fighting broke out in Gaza. This was Joe Biden in Dearborn, Michigan yesterday, recognizing Rashida Tlaib. Listen to this description. See if you think it fits.
And Rashid Tlaib, where's Rashid? I tell you what, Rashid, I want to say to you that I admire your intellect, I admire your passion, and I admire your concern for so many other people. And it's from my heart, I pray that your grandmom and family are well. I promise you I'm going to do everything to see that they are in the West Bank. You're a fighter, and God, thank you for being a fighter.
It's not. It's inspired. I really appreciate somebody's passion for anti-Semitism. I really appreciate somebody fighting for anti-Semitism.
Did you see? I mean, she gave him an earful when he got off Air Force One yesterday. Did you see that? She was in his face and wagging her finger and just.
Of course.
Wish I could have heard what she was saying.
Of course, because it's Rashida Tlaib and the other Marxist or socialist Spice Girls, as I call them, but her Marxist pals, who are actually in charge of the Democrat Socialist Party. I hate to break it to people, including Alan Dershowitz, since he affiliates with that side of the aisle. But he's certainly not beholden to the orthodoxy on that side, and that's why he's such an interesting intellect and legal thinker. Alan Dershowitz is emeritus professor of law, Harvard Law School. His new podcast, The Dersh Show, see what he did there? Yeah. The Dersh Show can be found on Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes. And his most recent book is The Case Against the New Censorship, Protecting Free Speech from Big Tech, Progressives, and Universities. Professor Dershowitz, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for exposing the Black Lives Matter platform. Look, I support the concept of Black Lives. Black Lives, of course, matter, but the Black Lives Matter platform is classic anti-Semitism. And Ilhan Omer and Tlaib and others are Black David Dukes. They are no better. They're bigots. They're anti-Semite. They're anti-American. They're anti-Israel. And, I've known Joe Biden for 40 years. I think he made a serious mistake praising this bigot. And I think that he should never have done it. He can talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Somebody who has shown such bigotry and such anti-Semitism. Look, for me, Israel is a bipartisan issue, and both parties should support it. Israel is the ally of the United States. It's a democracy fighting against terrorism. And the idea that because I'm a Democrat, I won't attack Democrats. Of course I will. I attacked President Obama when he made statements of the similar kind. And I will attack Republicans when I think they've done wrong. I'm a nonpartisan critic. And my book, The Case Against the New Censorship, is against the extremes of the right and the left, both of which think they know the truth, and therefore you don't need to tolerate dissent or due process. But today, the attack on due process and free speech comes primarily from the hard left, and it comes through high-tech censors, universities, and progressives.
Well, but before we even get to the high-tech censors, universities, and progressives, well, I guess this would be the progressive part. How about mayors? How about public officials? Stunning, really, in the wake of the Dante Wright shooting in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, when Mayor Mike Elliott there fired the police chief and a city manager for suggesting that the officer involved in shooting and killing Dante Wright was entitled to due process. He wasn't saying, those individuals weren't saying she was innocent. Those individuals were saying she wasn't to be charged. They were saying she's entitled to due process.
Let me go further. She was innocent. She shouldn't have been charged with anything. What she did was an honest mistake. Under American law, you do not charge somebody with manslaughter for accidentally pulling out a revolver instead of a taser. So even if they wouldn't say she's innocent, she is totally, completely, 100% innocent. Not true of Chauvin. Chauvin is terrible, and what he did was beneath contempt. But what she did was a pure accident. Anybody could do that. Maybe she should be suspended for a month and required to take a course on distinguishing between the taser and a revolver. But the idea of a criminal charge against her, 27 years of experience, is an abomination. And the idea that somebody would be fired, clearly unconstitutional, for expressing a view that she's entitled to due process. I wish I were in that city, because I would express a view that she's totally, completely, and unequivocally innocent. That's the truth. I taught criminal law 50 years, practiced it for 60 years, and I can tell you as an expert, there is no even plausible case for second-degree manslaughter, which is what she's been charged with. She was charged not by appropriate means, but by a crowd. It was
terrified. Political.
Well, they didn't charge her. There would be riots and violence, and that's not the way criminal justice should operate.
But and we have like vacuous celebrities, which I discount generally, but not when it seeps into people that actually have political power, that have legal authority. And this idea, even if you want to, you obviously disagree with the Brooklyn Center prosecutor, and that's fine. But the idea that due process should be suspended because I already know what the right answer is, and I want the right answer, and I don't care about the process. That should really frighten people, in addition to everything else that should frighten them.
Well, that's what's at the bottom of the new censorship. The woke generation thinks they know the truth with a capital T. And the truth is that every policeman who shoots a black person is guilty. Every woman who accuses a man is telling the truth. Every election is perfect. Every vaccine works without a doubt.
Right.
Some of that may be true, but the idea that if you know the truth, you don't have to tolerate dissent or due process is a contribution of the hard left, the woke. It's also something the extreme right, the neo-Nazis, white supremacists believe. Mao believed in Mussolini believed it. Castro believed it. Stalin believed it. And now the woke hard left, praised by President Biden through his praise of this one particular congresswoman, is a manifestation of that. And it's very disturbing and very dangerous. Fighting the new censorship is harder than the old censorship, because the old censorship was done by the government. And for 50 years, I fought for the First Amendment and won almost every one of my cases. Defending the First Amendment, Nazis marching in Skokie, the Pentagon Papers, all of those cases, we won those cases because the First Amendment was on our side.
Well, Mr.
But when it comes
Dershowitz,
to the new censorship, the First Amendment is against us. They have the right to censor legally, and they shouldn't do it.
well, I don't know if you've heard, but our mayor is not allowing. It's her anniversary tomorrow, and she's only going to speak to Black and brown reporters. Could there be a lawsuit against her for equal access?
Yeah, I think so. She's a public figure, and she's discriminating on the basis of race. Just put the shoe on the other foot. Imagine Governor Wallace saying, I'm going to have a press conference in which only white people can attend my press conference. No, that's illegal if it's done by a government official, and there should be a lawsuit. I think the courts would rule in favor of a white journalist who wanted to come and attend the press conference.
I wanted to get your review of this interesting anecdote that you write about in a column in Newsweek, I think it was. This debate that you had with the son of Bobby Kennedy over vaccinations, and YouTube taking that debate down, not because of anything you said, but because Bobby Kennedy's an anti-vaxxer, Bobby Kennedy's kid's an anti-vaxxer, and so they said things he didn't like.
And he's not really an anti-vaxxer. He's a vaccine skeptic.
Okay,
and
fine.
Skepticism is a good thing.
Yeah.
And they said, look, we're perfectly happy to have you listen to Dershowitz. He's right, but not Kennedy. He's wrong. But that's not for them to judge. It's for the public to judge. And I would hope the public would have an opportunity to listen to the debate. You can now hear it on Rumble. You can't hear it on YouTube. But make your own judgment. I'm not trying to impose my will on you. I don't want to win technical knockout by default because Google doesn't think my opponent's views deserve to be heard. That's not the American way.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, I have another interview, so I have to get off now. But
all right,
great questions, and I really appreciate it. And please, not only buy my book, The Case Against the New Censorship, but act on it. Fight back. Don't let them silence you. That's the key point.
Professor Alan Dershowitz, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Famous conservative quotes presented by Automated Systems.
One man with conviction will overwhelm 100 who have only opinions. An interesting observation by Winston Churchill.
Listen, to all you manufacturing companies out there, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Coolshar from Automated Systems. Automated Systems is a software and system integration company that specializes in companies that are required to meet the FDA numerous compliances and requirements. Automated Systems will create a custom solution